Jambo, sisters and brothers, as we gather here this afternoon, blessed with brilliant sunshine for our Kwanzaa celebration. I started by saying sisters because it's my knowing women are first, men after. The earth is a mother.
Yes. Of course. Amen.
Yes, for this Kwanzaa celebration, I would just like to go into some history as to how it started for those who do not know what is Kwanzaa. It's an annual celebration which evolved from African American culture, begin from December 26th to January the 1st. In America, they had a rebellion called the Watts Rebellion in the year 1965, resulting in deaths of some of our ancestors. Then came this brilliant brother, Dr. Karenga, in 1966, who stated that we must organize in communities, we must be organized as a people. We must organize as a people and we must be together, and let's honor our ancestors. Let's honor those who are present and aspire good things for those who are to come in the future. Our ancestors would have laid that foundation in Guyana and throughout the Caribbean and in the Western world, in Africa, in the world throughout. In Buxton, as you are here, as in other villages, Buxton was the second village that was purchased. Friendship became the third. And our ancestors did form cooperatives which they used for the benefit within our communities. And what happened after the Europeans, or specifically the British, recognizing the progress that was made in Buxton and other villages, decided to take over the village system which our ancestors had created. And in doing so, they tried their utmost best to impede our progress as a people. And by doing that, what they did, they imposed heavy taxes on villagers. And that's how the Buxton people stopped trade came into being, because of high taxation that was imposed on the village. So as we are here today, from evolving from those who we honor in the past, they are here in the present because when we think of them, they come to our consciousness. So as we become conscious, we recognize what was laid out by Dr. Karenga in America, who came up with these 7 principles beginning on the 26th of December on to the 1st of January, where each day represents a significant topic which we should reflect on, where we are presently, what have we done, what goals did we set, what hindrance, if any, that prevented us from achieving that goal. So as we are here with this Kwanzaa celebration, I would like to welcome each and everyone present, that we will here reflect, be here to reflect, knowing what is our position now and what we plan for the future. So at this point in time, I would like to welcome my brother, Dr. Rudy Gayan, to do the libation.
I say welcome to everyone. This will be a quick libation. Can you hear? Song as if you're not hearing me. Yeah. Are you hearing? All right. It'll be a quick libation, but I'll try not to devalue the moment. So we'll be quick, but we'll do what we have to do. Wonderful. First of all, when according to our collective tradition, then we pour libation, we pour first of all to the ancestors. Because we as African people, we want to get near to our ancestors, and we go further and further from our ancestors. So let us again recognize that we want to get to our ancestors. The next, we pour libation, and this is where we really start. We pour libation to our foreparents, because we know quite a lot about our foreparents. They've set quite a lot of examples for us, but we're not following it. We let other people distract us into their game plan, and then we think we follow our game plan, but we follow other people's game plan. So we pour libation that, look, listen, we get back on track to our living. Why I'm saying this, and this is all in keeping with today's celebration. We let, when I say people remove us from our game plan, for example, we've got us talking about ancestral land. We don't have ancestral land in this country. And if you understand that, you'll understand why today's Kwanzaa celebration is so important. This place should be, we're in a village. We're in the center of a village, and this is what we have here. We must talk about things that we see that is wrong. So when I say wrong, listen, it means that we need to improve. We're not putting down our people, we're not trying to destroy your people, but we're trying to show people when we do things, it must reflect our progress. And believe it or not, we regressing. My wife would like me to speak the truth, but we're regressing. So we pour libation to say, listen, we recognize what we are. Because if you don't recognize where you are, you can't go forward. So with this, we pour libation to say, listen, true to ourselves, we recognize our situation. But we don't like it. So by the next Kwanzaa, we will show that we really understood our situation, our perspective, and we moving forward. So I pour libation to this celebration, and this celebration will make us, give us a kind of gauge to where we are and where we're not. And then we say to ourselves, listen, this is where we want to be. And so the next Kwanzaa celebration, we say, wow, we are there, we go there. So libation, that the consciousness of our conscious awareness of ourselves. Without conscious awareness, you're not going anywhere. The other thing about Kwanzaa is that, and I like to pull libation to that, it was mentioned before, Kwanzaa is about the earth is about production, food is the female. I pour libation to the feminine energy among us. We are not recognizing the feminine energy enough. And because we're not doing that, our female energy, which is the energy and the visual of the energy, is under attack. We're dying out much too much. We have to protect that female. In fact, whether you like it or not, and I say something that may not be within this, but the goal of our oppressor is to destroy the feminine energy among us, because by destroying the feminine energy, they destroy the people. Let me give you something before I say I go forward. Do you know in 1976, it was in the within the U.S. Parliament, Congress, right? Congress, they have actually said that at the time they had in South America, you had certain people fighting for their liberation. And this is what was said. Any place where you have fertile land, very important, that's why they have these dirty gutters here and you don't realize what they're doing. Anywhere we have fertile land, fertile women is a problem. Because if you have fertile land and you have fertile women, you have increasing population. And together with that, if you have proper medical attendance, it's no good. This is what the Congress of the US has said. They don't like that anytime they see the women and the men working together, they know that you have problems, and that is they don't want it. So don't, and again, they said that means the reason why they don't like fertile land, fertile women, you know what? Ladies. They're against population expansion when they come to your place and they tell you little things, they're looking after your child with job, and this, that. You know, they don't like children. So anyway, that's going off a bit. But what I'm saying, this Kwanzaa is all about the female energy. All Kwanzaa should be. Because with the female energy, you see, we have growth, we have food. When the female energy is not there, we're hungry. So I pour libation that in our minds, we say to ourselves, and we say to the next one near to us, and when we go home, we say to our relatives, look, you know what? No matter what we have in our yard, we're going to plant something. We're going to have something to show, something to give when we have the next one. So every one of us will come here with something in our hands that came from our yard, whether it's a bit of basil or whatever it is. Take leaf time, whatever it is. You come and you say, listen, this is acknowledgement of our development, of our growth. So I pour libation in each of us. We get a consciousness among us that look, we have to look after ourselves because nobody else will look after us. And I pour libation to everyone here today. Please, first of all, be aware that what you need. Be aware that you on this earth, and only on this earth you're responsible for right now. You don't know what is happening outside this earth, and I don't want to say more than that. Where you are is what you're responsible for. Make this a place where you can live. Make this place where you want to live. Don't live in some cloudy place that you don't even know of. That will come in when you've made this successful. Then you can make anything else successful. But most of us are living outside of reality, outside of ourselves. So therefore, our Kwanzaa can be as good as we want it to be. Because our minds are not here. Our minds are not among us. Our minds are too far. And I can't say more. My wife will punch me in the head. I can't say more than that. But please, what I'm saying to you, if our Kwanzaa is going to be successful, we have to live with ourselves. We have to live among ourselves. We have to live here on earth, respect earth, and don't live outside ourselves. After developing ourselves, we can develop anything else. So with that I say, thank you for tolerating what I'm about to say. But I say, what a great day this is. What a great day this will be. And we have until the first of this year, first of next year, for the ending of the Kwanzaa. I wonder if everybody knew that. For the of the Kwanzaa week or the Kwanzaa program. I hope every day will be a great day for us. And then after that, we don't end, but we put into place everything, every wish that we made, every vision that we've seen in these past 7 days, the 7 days of the Kwanzaa. Let us make sure that we put everything, every vision, every thought, every plan, every promise, that we hope that we put that into practice. So that next year, you know what next year is? Wow, wow, wow. Next year is a serious, serious year. We say to ourselves, we will be winners in whatever we do because we are grounded here on earth. Happy Kwanzaa to everyone.
Things that the brother said that really struck me. And one is our women. When I wasn't and I'm not medically inclined, but there are certain things that I come to the realization of. And it's for us as elders, pass on to our children, and for the youths who are here to understand. When a woman is pregnant, it's important that the men folks and those that surrounds her treat her right, because they're based upon what happens to her. She reacts, their secretion of enzymes, hormones are there, and those form the child. So if she's angry, most likely that child would tend to be rebellious and be an angry child. So it's important, as I said, we treat our women folks right. The other thing is about land. Production within villages. I am agreeing to that we've fallen short in terms of developing our lands. And I would like to highlight to you, the government came and offered to help develop our backlands. Right? The company canal, which is a stone throw away, it's almost empty. And why is it empty? What they did during the irrigation, instead of drilling this way so that the water would flow to the sea, they do it this way. So what you find happening, the water large flood out our farmers, because they know if Buxton is productive, BV is productive, Golden Grove, Ansgrove, Victoria, Pleasance are productive, and the Annandale market will die, Manipur market will die, and all the other markets will die. So it is strategic, and we must recognize that. I would like to call on the founder, my brother, Brother Keith Easton, for opening remarks.
Jambo, and welcome to this, our Kwanzaa celebration here. I think this is about our 4th or 5th celebration at the museum here. I will not go fully into what I want to say. All I'm trying to do now is welcome you to the museum, and the museum is going to be our most important cultural place in the future. But I'll talk to you more about that, right? And we want not only a museum in Buxton, we want a museum in every village if it's possible. Now, at this point, I will switch places and introduce to you Sister Baptiste, who is the founder of AGDA. And while we're waiting for her to come up, following the libation that was done just now by our brother, I would just like to recognize a few persons. My mother, Yvonne Levi, Short, and their from the Young family and so on. I'd like to recognize her based on the libation. Because of her, we were able to use this location and develop on it, right? And there are many other persons who went before us that in the pouring of the libation that we know about, that were part of the museum. And where's Sister? And those who know them, you can call the names. So you have Brother Willibus, Ronald Willibus, and many others. But as we go along, we'll mention their names, as we go along. But the sister is here, and I'll pass you on to her. As I said, I'm trading places because we want to keep on time, and she has a very, very important message to bring to you because she's going to deal with all the aspects of Kwanzaa, the principles of Kwanzaa. Sister Baptiste.
I'm Jambo, everyone. Today, I must express my gratitude and pleasure to be here. This is the first time that I'm in Buxton for a Kwanzaa celebration. Our organization, ACTA, in as much as we weren't the first to do Kwanzaa, it was first done in the 1970s by a group of African Americans that were visiting in Guyana. But in 1992, on the 27th of December, ACTA hosted its first Kwanzaa. And since then, we've been hosting Kwanzaa every year. So this is our 32nd year of hosting Kwanzaa for ACTA. During this time, these, I would say, sacred days of Kwanzaa, several groups we were invited and are invited every year to different communities. We've been in Linden, we've been on the west coast of Berbice, because several communities will have Kwanzaa. This is my first to Buxton. And as I said earlier, I'm very happy to be here. What is Kwanzaa? Most persons, after 32 years, are still asking that question. What is Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa is an African harvest cultural holiday. Like all holidays, they have symbols, songs, and rituals. Some persons, and those of you who are here from ACTA, have heard me say this over and over again. But it's very, very important that this is repeated. If you see a Christmas tree, immediately in your mind springs Christmas. That's a symbol. But most of you, when you see the Canara of its 7 candles, you don't know or realize that it's Kwanzaa. In other words, you're not aware of the symbols of this African cultural holiday. How do we prepare for it? Days before, we get our homes cleaned, we clean it up, and we decorate it in the colors of Kwanzaa. Like holidays have colors. Easter, I think, have Easter eggs, and you wear yellow hats and you go to church or something like that. And Christmas, you decorate. Kwanzaa have 3 colors. Most persons that know me know most times I wear this around my neck. Yes? This represents the colors that's coming all the way from Marcus Messiah Garvey. Red, black, and green. Those are the colors of Kwanzaa, and we decorate our homes colors of Kwanzaa, and we decorate our homes primarily in these colors. Red represents the struggle. Of course, the black represents the people. We, the African people, the black Africans. And green, as brother was saying, land. Land is critical for African development. Land. So we would decorate our homes in the different African culture motifs, whatever we have. Because most of us, if we come to your homes and you're not home, we wouldn't know Africans live there. You don't have anything that would signify African, this is an African family, live here. Some of you may actually have the white Jesus on your walls. Some of you may have that, which is fascinating. In 2024. So that's what we do. We decorate our homes with African motifs in the colors, and we prepare zawadis. Zawadis, gifts, which we would give to our children and our friends and so on the 1st of January. But not gifts that we would get from the Chinese and so on. Most likely things we make, and more likely things that will be reward based on what you have done, or to encourage a child, or learning things. It's an African harvest holiday, and I'm hoping that every single place, if I were to come to your home, whether you're in a room, whether in a big apartment, a big house, or whatever, you got something growing. I hope you got something growing. It comes to memory, it immediately comes to memory, Brother Stan Cook, who was the administrator for ACTA for a long time. And those persons that know Brother Cook and visited Brother Cook know that he was blind. And if you visited Brother Cook, he lived in a top apartment. And as you climb his stairs on his veranda, he had pots that he planted, callaloo. And every day he'll wake up and he will feel, and he will grow, and he will pick his stuff, and he was blind. Most of you are honored and blessed with full sight. And you do not even plant something that grows easily callaloo, thyme, seasoning, just in a pot. Let us pledge to do that come next year. So when we gather here, you can bring some of the stuff you planted. A bunch of plantain, some coconut, some thyme, some pepper, some callaloo. Brothers asked me to speak on the principles of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa has 7 guiding principles. The first one, umoja. Umoja is a Swahili word that means unity. Unity. As we move forward in the new year, as brother pointed out, 2025 is going to be a year of great challenges. And it will test the unity principle among our people. One voice, one motion, one community, one purpose, unity. We don't want others to come among us and divide us. We ain't like this man, we ain't like the woman, they're too short, they're presidential looking, their mother that used to sell black pudding and sauce, they ain't go to the best schools. No! Others would put a dog. And you don't hear that. Everyone line up behind the dog. Unity, critical. It's the first principle of Kwanzaa. The next principle of Kwanzaa, Kuji Chakalia. What is that? It's a Swahili word meaning self-determination. You see, there was a time in our history when others defined us, spoke for us, decide who we will, whether we will eat, when we will work, who we will mate with, what will happen to our children. There was a time when we couldn't self-determine. Now we've been given that right. We must affirm it. To speak for ourselves, name ourselves, but in unity. The third principle is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. I've got my own definition, but brother passed me a paper, and I want to read from it. Satisfied. It says, cooperate, mobilize, improvement, immerse, implement, self-reliance, group solidarity. And there's a beautiful quote at the bottom of this that says, the man on his feet carried off the share of the man sitting down. That's a Guinea. It's out of Guinea. It's an African proverb. And if you don't fight for what you want, you deserve what you get. I want to repeat that. If you don't fight for what you want, you deserve what you get. So let us get up. Let us get up and don't sit down. Because when you get it, if you sit down, someone is going to walk away with your stuff. Right? So that's Ujima. I like these phrases, these proverbs brother has here. Ujama. That's the fourth principle. Of course, it's cooperative economics. Economics of self-reliance, buy black, leverage, self-sufficiency. Powernomics. I remember about 20 years ago, after embarked, I think it was Ronald Waddle, the late Ronald Waddle. He was on Channel 9, and he said we should buy black. And soon as brother said that on his program, about 4 African people headed up to Channel 9 and said to him, listen, you can't set up. You can't set up. They were upset. I could call the person's names who did that, but I'm not going to do that at this time. I know ACTA embarked on a campaign, and we traveled from Georgetown to Skeldon, stopping at Skeldon, carrying the message. And one of the things we learned on that campaign is that in some areas that could not fly, because we weren't doing anything in some of our areas. And if persons kept that, more than likely they wouldn't have anything. There was not enough African people, Guyanese Africans, that were planting and have enough things to buy. We're gonna finish soon. The fifth principle, which I personally believe is one of the most serious principles, and that is the principle of nia. Swahili word, nia. It means purpose. Purposeful, elevate, venerate, accountable, punctual, optimal health. He who upsets a thing should know how to rearrange it. Serlio. One does not instruct a child on return. One instructs him when he's going. Zimbabwe. Dig your well. This is the one I love the best. Dig your well before you are thirsty. Nia, what is our purpose? What's our purpose?
Let me go on.
That's a question we must ponder on. What's our purpose? What should be our purpose? How we define our purpose? And the sixth, Kumba, Swahili word, meaning creativity. Some of us present here have just returned from Nigeria. And without a doubt, I have traveled extensively in Africa. But I find the Nigerians extremely, extremely creative. We are creative, but what I found, the children, we did a program in one that's so-called porous area. These children live on the river, and it's considered one of the very poor areas. And they have a school there. And these small children were so eager to learn, and they were creative, and you would go and see amazing things when we visited the museums and so on. Fascinating things. Each and every one of us can create. Let's begin to create again. Brother has here authenticity. In our creative energies, we will be authentic. Knowledge, he says. Wisdom. African-centered code of conduct. Leadership. Healing. Prudence and vigilance. And the proverbs that he has given, from wherever you begin, the higher the climb, the better the view. A wise man fills his head before emptying his mouth. That's a good one. That's a very good one. And the last principle of Kwanzaa is, or the Nguzu Saba, Imani, faith. Faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in our teachers, faith in our leaders, faith in our Creator. Brother has here devotion, good character, spiritual, sacredness, endurance, trust, cohesion, fellowship, humility, perseverance. The elders of the village are the boundaries. That's a Ghanaian saying. And a good child brings a good name to their parents. Many of us can testify to that. And this one, we have to be very, very careful, because some of us are falling into this trap. Do not allow the belly to make you useless to your people. Don't collect your fret and suddenly you don't want to hear nothing about African things. You don't want people to see you mixing with African people, because what the people can say, the money can stop. When the fret, I can report on John, I can report on Alice. If that will increase more in the new year, persons will come among you with those thoughts. Be aware, be cognizant. That's my message. However, as I began, I want to end with two things. Storytelling. And I want to end or say this before I end, that there's a long time ago, long time ago, truth and lie went for a swim. Truth and lie went for a swim. I think maybe by the Blacko. That sounds native. They went by the Blacko. So truth, if truth says going to swim, or she says she's going to swim, obviously they're going to swim. But lie said they're going to swim, doubtful, right? So truth and lie, they arrive at the Blacko. Truth takes off his clothes, puts it in a corner, nice. Lie, watching truth, take off his clothes, puts on truth clothes. And that's what we have going on today. Well-dressed lies. lies dressed up as truth, masquerading as truth. Most of the things we think we know as truth are lies.
Repeat, please.
Most of the things we think we know is true are lies. As a matter of fact, some of them tell us. I remember a sister was on Channel 9 once, and she said, we should be thankful. She was a preacher lady. We should be thankful that they brought us out as slaves, because they teach us to eat with knife or fork. I'm not going to call it. There are some among us who felt that we should be grateful because others civilized us, not realizing we are the civilizers. And finally, I want to say a little bit about this conversation I'm hearing. Yesterday or on Thursday, we heard brother that did the libation talk about the female. Then I see brother that did the libation here today spoke about female. And then I heard brother Castello mention about female. But one of the things that stuck in my mind was when brother said that most males now, or persons, are thinking that the black African woman has become very aggressive and, possessive and so on. Not possessive in terms of male, but they're very, like, moving everything and getting on and so on. But I want to share this with you. Every single time in our history, every time, when our race is in trouble, the women emerge. Know that. The women emerge. So if you see suddenly, women are suddenly more, we're in problems. We're in problems. And women that are present here, know your role. Take control of your boy children. Take them off the street corner. Give them purpose. Nia. Ashamed.
Every time I listen to Sister Vi, there's always something for me, and I guess all of you, to learn. When I joined ABDA in 1994, Sister Vi had been an inspiration to me, and she still is. At this point in time, I would like to recognize some notable persons within our midst, starting with my former minister, Brother Scott, who was the Junior Minister of Ministry of Social Protection, who I had the pleasure of working with in those days. I would like to recognize Brother Slater Jeffrey, who's been doing some tremendous work within our community. I would like to recognize Dr. Hope. For those of you who don't know Brother Dion Abrams, I would like to recognize him. This is human. I would also like to recognize Brother Kofi, the son of Brother UC Kwayano. There may be other in the midst.
Yeah, we have an MC here with us.
Oh, Sister, our present Member of Parliament, who is at the forefront of the Maka struggle and other struggle. She's a woman, so she's in the struggle. Forgive me, I don't know everybody, so I have to listen. I have to listen. I have to listen for guidance. The wife of Brother Scott. I did not call on Queen Mother, Sister Penda, because I know she will be here shortly. Sister Penda, you may rise. At this point in time, I would like to call on my sister, Sister Candice, to do a poem for us. Please welcome Sister Candice.
Jambo, my elders, queen mothers, and brothers. Thank you very much. So, my poem is, you know, as Kwanzaa, and came up with the poem because Queen Mother, Sister Kendra, last year when I came here, was writing up and she said, please do a poem for us. So now I'm here to do poem again for you. It's all the stuff that was mentioned about Kwanzaa before. It's just, you know, a little bit more. Wait. You know it's Kwanzaa? All over here, African descent, and you don't know it's Kwanzaa? You're joking or you're playing tricks? You ain't know it's Kwanzaa? But Kwanzaa is a Swahili word for forest fruit, and Kwanzaa was created by Dr. Muna Karang in 1966. Oh, tell me you ain't know it's Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a holiday for African people to celebrate the culture and themselves. How you ain't know about Kwanzaa? Celebrated from December 26th to the 1st of January, we have 3 beautiful colors, red, black, and green. With 7 beautiful principles, we call them the Nkusu Saga, and 7 symbols. I will tell you about them later. Brother, the back door yarn. We got to know about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is waiting. On the first day, Umoja, we celebrate unity. For we people, it's where we all must come together. On the second day, the second principle, Kuchi Jakelea, self-determination. Don't forget the one. On the third day, Ujima. Collective work and collective responsibility. On the 4th day, Ujama. Collective economics. I don't know. On the 5th day, Nia, purpose. We must know our purpose. On the 6th day, Kuupa, creativity. And on the seventh day, Imani, which is faith. Now let me tell you about them 7 symbols of Kwanzaa. When you decorate your house in your lovely colors, red, black, and green, on your table is the makeka, the foundation. This is the mat where all the other symbols must respond. On your makeka is your kanara. And in your kanara, you have your 7 candles that represent 7 principles, which you will light daily. On your makeka is your kanara. Are you hear me? I say kanara, not canary. Not forgetting the mahindi. You must have your mahindi. Umacha, umosha, your unity cup, which we must drink from. And your moseo, which is your crops. And from your farm and your planting. You still not know about Kwanzaa. On the final day, you have your sawadis, which are the gifts that you give the little children for the great work that they have done. Now with your beautiful principles, 7 principles, with your 3 beautiful colors, and your 7 symbols, we all come together. Habari Ganu, Ujama. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Candice. Before we go into some drumming, there are 2 things I want to highlight. And for those persons who are kind of skeptical when it comes to candles, the Bible that you believe in talks about the usage of candles and incense. But yet, when some persons see candles, they are nervous. They say it's obia. They are more comfortable with the white candle, not the colored ones. It's obia. And it is in your Bible. Another thing, the King James Version, in the book of Revelation chapter 1, between verse 10 and 15, the old King James Version says, when John was on the island of Patmos, he saw Jesus. He said he had hair like lamb's wool and feet of burnt brass. There is only one nation of people that fits that description, and that's us. One nation of people that fits that description, and that's us. It's in your Bible. Also in your Bible, I believe in Jeremiah chapter 10. It talks about cutting a tree and decorate it with silver and gold. You see all kind of fancy lights on that tree now. That's a prophecy for us in the book of Jeremiah. Thank you. We'll have some drumming, and then we'll have Brother Keith after.
Jambo again. I asked to not to be the last, but also to defer to Dr. Rudy and also to Sister Violet, so that they can deliver to you those. Hello? Yes. I ask to defer my greetings to you fully, so that Sister Violet can bring that very, very, very important message to you, and Dr. Rudy Gayan. Right? Kwanzaa is several things all in one for our people. All races have their own celebration, right? And as our brother mentioned also, it is not a religious, it's basically a cultural celebration. Now, on behalf of the museum, the Buxton Friendship Museum, I would like to again acknowledge all the persons who were already introduced here. The museum started by a group of, let us say, Guyanese, not Buxtonians, but Guyanese in general, in Washington, D.C. And as a result of the formation of that group, we started the museum, the building of the museum, and the museum was opened in August of 2018. So I must thank the board of directors, the Friends of the Villages Museum in the USA. I must also acknowledge and thank the board of directors of the museum in Buxton. I must again thank the staff, Miss Henry, right, who is supposed to be on vacation, but she came out to be with us this afternoon. And Sister Day, who is at the back, again, she should have been out of the area, and she's here. There are a few members who are out of the country, so our force is a little small. Secondly, the drummers, very, very important. We are losing our young men, right? You may find that I'll be going back and forward, and I'll be using printed material. Why? It's just to keep me on track. I asked the brother Castillo to time me, right? Now, one of the things, or my pet principle is near purpose. It's based on near purpose, which I repeat from one of the brochures, one of the pieces I have here. To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Now, that's our purpose with the museum. And we use the Sankofa board of looking backwards, right? Because you have to look back at your history, look at your present, and determine your future. Very, very important. Now, as I said, I'll be going back and forward. At this point now, I look backward and also recognize, I spoke about recognizing my mother based on her provision that we can use the land and so on. But I must also recognize a person, Wilfred Martin, who is from, or hails from Linden. It's based on his, his inspiration by taking me to a museum in Washington, D.C., American Visionary Museum, that was founded by a Jewish person, Rebecca Hofberger. That museum gave me the insight to start this. Next, Elaine Huntley, she was part of the ribbon cutting at the opening ceremony. She was 98, I think. Then Brother Ascari, our past security and general worker, and and several other things. I must recognize him. Ronald Willibus, who was our past president. Then we had Dr. Josiah, Barbara Josiah, who was our first keynote speaker at our dinner and dance. I also have to recognize someone who recently passed, and many of you may not know him, Leslie Gardner, who looked over the museum while I was not here. Now, one of the things I have to mention is what is happening in Buxton and in Guyana at the moment. And a friend of mine, a brother of mine mentioned, which I'm referring to what Dr. Rudy mentioned, and he always said that women are gods. He said that the first being...
The mechanic shop, just turn the music down.
Yes, he said women are gods. So we have to recognize our females, right, and their contribution to society and to everything, because it's women where you find Buxton people stop train, right? That is, and we have that in the museum. Next, as I said, I'll be going back and forward. Land.
Mechanic shop.
Yes, land.
Right there, yeah.
As I said, Guyana is changing, and it's changing rapidly. We should try not to sell our land. We should try not to sell our land. We should try to have our land passed down into the generation, from one generation to the other. And land would be moved from ordinary swampland to also from farmland in order to building land and also to commercial land. And as land moves, the value of land keeps increasing. And who owns the land at all the very important spots, in the country, right? And that is where MACA comes in terms of defending their land. Now, one other thing we have to look at is economics. Again, that brings me to what I spoke about last year and what I want to emphasize again this year. And that is Ujamaa, cooperative economics, and that is to build, maintain, and own stores, shops, other businesses, and profit from them together. I'm part of another organization in DC that celebrates NIA, and their mission and encouragement is for us to support our own, not just during Kwanzaa period, but throughout the year, right? And money circulates with other cultures. Money circulates among themselves and among certain communities umpteen times before it goes out of the community or before it goes out of the culture, right? So therefore we have to try. I know, yes, we're a multicultural community. Yes, the country has so many races, but if we don't buy from each other, we don't support each other, we don't plant, right? It means that down the road, as Guyana is developing, we will lose a lot. And we also have to take advantage of our constitution. Our constitution has a lot of benefits if we look into that constitution and also demand of what is ours from that constitution. And it brings me to a point that the museum applied for a subvention and we did a petition and we quoted two parts of the Guyana constitution, which was brought to my attention by another brother who's not here, right? So we have to look at the constitution and demand what is ours, right? Because it's our right. It's not that we're begging anybody for anything. We're asking for what is rightfully ours based on our constitution and based on our African heritage. And seeing that my time is not reached yet, as what I told the brother, we have Kofi Kwanzaa here, who is representative of his father, that Askria started what we call a cultural revolution years ago. That is where you find a lot of brothers and sisters have African names. We did weddings, we did naming ceremonies. There were so many, things that I can tell you about in terms of all of those feasts and whatever. But as I said, I'll be jumping from one thing to the other. And at this point, I will ask you and ask your permission for those who are older than me, that we declare today that we have what we'll call, if it has not been done before, right? We have a cultural revolution, we had a cultural revolution, but we need an economic revolution for the black people to follow suit, similar to the cultural revolution that we had in Guyana, right? We need to have an economic revolution because you find persons are coming from all over and are benefiting from what we are supposed to benefit from, right? And we are not getting what is ours. So we really need an economic revolution. And in so doing, yes, and in so doing, right, we can also get the benefits. You find businesses are coming and get what we call tax holidays, right? And that gives them the edge over those who are starting businesses here. Why can't we also, for small business people, have tax holidays in order to get them to develop their business, right? And that is if it is not being done, because I can't say I know everything, right? But I'm just saying that we need to have an economic revolution in Guyana so that African people can benefit more. And I think I will close with my time in, right? And again, thanks to everyone that we were able to, Sister Penda is coming up, and we already said thanks to Sister Penda. I wish you all the best for this Kwanzaa and all the other Kwanzaas and for the rest of the year. Thank you.
Queen Mother, Sister Penda.
Before I speak, I just have to show you my wonderful. This is my nephew. He is the son of the sage of Buxton, of the UC Guyana. This is Kofi. It is indeed a pleasure to have him here because it's such a surprise. It is indeed a surprise. However, I want to say, as we normally greet you, I'm Jambo. Wait a minute. I know you haven't eaten this yet, but you can eat this. Let's try again. I'm Jambo. Thank you. Thank you. My task today is a very small one because all that I needed to say has already been said. The CEO of ACTA, Sister Baptiste, she did a wonderful, wonderful explanation on Kwanzaa. Mr. Candace is going to light the candles, and we're going to explain as we light what the significance are. You've already heard some of it. I also want to emphasize what both Queen Mother Violet Jean-Baptiste has said and what Brother Easton has said. Purpose. Purpose. Our purpose today, as we leave here, our purpose should be this. I heard Brother Castello, our chairperson, said that the government is offering to develop the backlands.
So,
The same people that destroy the backlands are now offering to develop it. Why? And I think Sister made it quite clear, Queen Mother made it clear. We have to be careful when people come to us with gifts, what's the true meaning of it? You know what next year is. And so we're going to be given lots of things. But I want you to know one thing. Everything belongs to you. So you must take what's given, what you can use it to your benefit. But beware. And she said, be aware, be very conscious what you have to do. Don't be clouded by what you're given. It is your right. So you know what you have to do in order to take us out of the mire we're in to get us to the next level. And as they say in Acton, as we say, we are an African people. Nothing is too difficult for us. What's the rest? I'm not hearing.
Example to the world.
To the Shinda,
We will win.
thank you. Now, remember your purpose. Your purpose is to see us through. Your purpose is to see that we get what we need, not only for us. Because as Prime Minister says, we're in the departure lounge. It's just that some of us haven't checked in. So we're not doing it for us. We're doing it for the generations to come. And we owe it to them. We owe it to the foreparents, and we owe it to the generations to come. So we have to be very wise. And one thing I love is that if I ask the women to stand up in here, the men will be so ashamed they'll run out. It means that we're here in our strength, and we will continue to work in unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, collective economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge all the persons that are here. My warrior MP, give her a round of applause. My sister really fights for us. She is the warrior. And even though I know Minister Scott was acknowledged before, but I don't know how many of you knew that his mother was the dynamic chief whip, Baba Ahmad. Give him a round of applause. And of course, you know, his lovely wife was mentioned. But I want to say that every time I think of her, I see her, I think of her brother, Dr. Walter Rodney. Stand up, stand up. Stand up and let them see you. This is the sister of Dr. Walter Rodney. Yes. So today we have a collection of dynamic people in this space, this little space. And I hope that the strength that comes out of this will take us into the new year charged, energized to do what we have to and what we must do come 2025. You know where that is.
going to light the candles and we're going to ask. But before I do that, I'll be amiss if I did not thank some of the people who traveled so far to be here with us today. I know Brother Easton came in because, you know, I mean, I'm not thanking him because this is his spot. Oh, there he is. This is his spot. And of course, my handsome nephew, Kofi, is here. So I'm thanking him for being here. He traveled in too. But I want to say thank you to the people that came from what I call Venezuela. The people that come from East Bank of Essequibo. You know Venezuela's claiming that. Well, we have some people here who traveled from there to be with us here today. Just put your hands up. All the way from Venezuela to be here with us today. Venezuela's claiming that. Well, we have some people here who traveled from there to be with us here today. Just put your hands up. All the way from Venezuela to be here with us. So I cannot just not say anything on that. And I also, my sister Savia, give them, put your hands up till they see you. Okay. Now, as is customary, we will ask a child. Can we have someone bring the young person? We'll have the youngest person come forward to light the first candle for us, which is unity. Grandma, can you bring him up, please? So he lights the candle. That was the first one. So does everyone have a lighter? Now ask Minister Nema Flubes to light the second candle. But before she does, I'm going to ask you. She's lighting the second candle. Abarigani. Thank you. Lighting the second candle. Could you check the yes and determination? Someone to light the next candle for us, and I will ask Kofi Mayana to do us the honor. Abarigani, Regina, thank you.
This way?
Yeah.
This way.
Okay. All right. Now I need a volunteer now. I need a volunteer to do the fourth principle, which is today. Abarigadi, come on up. Now, I will ask the person who made this mat. Well, she had a little assistance, but she was the person who did it last year. I'm going to ask Sister Candace to come forward and light, because she's the one that made the matimba. She made the matimba here, and she made it out of palm. Very, very creative. So I think it's only befitting that she likes. And it was his faith that brought this place into being. Brother Easton, will you come forward and light the last one for us to take us into 2025? Indeed, I now turn you over to the chairperson. Thank you.
We are winding down. So at this point in time, I would like to call on persons to offer or send greetings.
Good evening, everybody. Kings, queens, princes, and priests of black people all over the world, and most likely today of all places. It's difficult for me to hold a microphone when I'm in Buxton and not think about my inspiration, which is Justy Kwayano. It's a man who I honor and I have learned a lot from, and I take the opportunity to ask his son, Kofi, to take back on behalf of my wife and I greetings to Brother Kofi Kwayano, wishing him long life. The opportunity for me to be here for the second time, it's an honor for me. And I feel real happy that Sister Kendall has seen fit to call us to be here today. What I'd like to leave with you, wherever, is this village is known and was known all the time as the premier village. It is the second village that was bought. It was known as the progressive village. It was the most progressive village on the entire East Coast. I was living in BV at the time, and we in BV took education, health, and all progressive patterns from them, and we launched at that time. Buxton was then the premier village, before it was undermined by other forces. I want to tell you once again that children of Buxton, please make sure that you teach your children that they are black. All over the world, black people are feared and hated. They're hated because of our power. And our children have got to regain that sense of pride in being black. They are losing it gradually. It is the duty of the village to produce the child. Every person in a village is a teacher. And we must also make sure that you have and develop the pride. Our country is being undermined right now, and not being political, but politics is life. Our country is being undermined. Black people are being destroyed, both spiritually and physically. We must therefore take a stand. The back down flag is a classical example. If you own a front down, you own the back down. And I remember many times in the 60s, in the afternoons, seeing people coming from the back down in the canoe with produce. There's one thing that produced and saved us on the East Coast, all the villages. That was the cooperative movement. It is the cooperative movement that gave us our villages. We have lost it and become capitalists, and we started thinking about ourselves. I want you to regain that feeling that the only way to success, the only way we can withstand the current pressures that you're all suffering under now is going back to the cooperative movement. The co-op is the only way that black people can get together in unity and produce. Everything here can be produced in everybody's yard. But everything here can be sold if we were to form co-ops again. So I'm encouraging you to form co-ops among yourself. Builders co-ops, farmers co-ops, sellers co-ops, and so on. There is a lot of help you can get in that respect. But that is the surest way for the village to develop its wealth. Right. I'd like to send greetings to all of you. I'm very happy again to be here. Kwanzaa.
Good night, family. Jambo. Also, please ask me to bring greetings. I have to tell you the truth, it's a difficult thing to come to a festive occasion with war on your mind.
Ashe.
But and then I heard the name of Uncle Walter Rodney mentioned, so I have to shake off any hesitation to share what is on my heart. To the elders and to my peers and to our children, everything has already been said. I want to repeat something before I just offer a short prayer in the Yoruba language. It was mentioned before about Obia. And also there was mention about women and the role that women have played in our trajectory, our progress through history. And then of course we mentioned politics. And as we just said, politics is life, so it's not just politics like political party politics. Maybe it's time that we can remove some of that, but culture is at the forefront of what we're talking about here today. We're here to celebrate culture. And one of the things I know as a youth man coming up to this village is that culture is not just culture for culture's sake. It's not something that's extracurricular, like you have culture over here and then you're dealing with the rest of life. The culture is a fundamental part of our life. And when I think of the role of just tying all of those things together, the role of women in our journey, and culture being our immune system, I think of the Haitian Revolution. If you want to think about what culture really means, culture is not just kwekwe and just singing some song and eating conky and ginger beer on 1st of August and all those things. Those are parts of our culture. Culture actually informs the way that we live with each other, which are the principles of Kwanzaa. That's what those principles are all about. Now, Uncle Keith just mentioned about co-ops. I've been speaking with my father, and one of the reasons that I'm here in the country right now is to do some interviews with people who have lived life with him as we are preparing, God willing, for his 100th birthday. So we're doing a film. But he talked a lot about the co-ops. And so I'm saying all that to say that there's nothing that is within the remedy for this mess we see our country in that is outside of our culture or outside of our hands. It's just for us, as we say, I and I. It's just for I and I to step up to the plate again, as our mothers and fathers did for us. Because we walk in the back now and eat them mangoes, and our mothers and fathers planted them trees. So what are we planting for our children? And this is not just about the fruit, but about symbolically about life. So when I think of Cecile Fatima and the Haitian Revolution that became the most powerful revolution in this modern time outside of the continent of Africa, maybe it's time we can embrace some more Obiang. Guys, Obiang make that happen. Not Obiang like bad mind Obiang, you know, cutthroat. You want to take your matty woman or man or all these kind of things. Science, African science. We are celebrating the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution on January the 1st. And one thing that comes to my mind all the time is that, you know, there was a ceremony called Boy K-Man. For those of y'all who have your phones, you can look that up at another time. B-O-I-S K-Man, C-A-I-M-A-N. That was a ceremony that set off the Haitian Revolution. What we don't know is that Cecile Fatima, a woman, went around and canvassed the area organizing. For years, organizing all the native tribes to come together. So it wasn't something that just happened at the split of the moment, spark of the moment. But what did happen is, they established the revolution. They set up, they had a ceremony in an alligator swamp. I just want you to think about that for a minute, please. They had a ceremony that set off the Haitian Revolution in an alligator swamp. How many of us would just go and lime in an alligator swamp? Screech you off, hide off in the alligator swamp, smoke a spliff, hide from police. That's not, we don't do that because alligators have been known to have this kind of adverse relationship with our people. But my point is that because of our spirituality, because of our culture, which informed our strategy, which informed our politics, which inform our agriculture, which inform our militarism, which inform our education, which inform every aspect of our life, we were able to unite with nature and let nature work on our behalf. So alligator didn't eat them, because we know the history. I use Haiti as an example, because we know what came with the Haitian Revolution. So I would like to just offer a prayer for the year 2025. This is in the Yoruba tradition. This is alcohol, but don't feel no way, we don't drink. I take that example from my father. However, in our tradition, we make use of the different elements of nature because they all have an essence. So I will say it in Yoruba, and then kind of give the translation. Otura lale mu irete lale ra adifafan aranisan. Ti omo igba otikan amulowo oti oma owo ola omo aranisan otikan oti ola Liawo Olaomo is talking about a man named Aranisan who used the OT, or the alcohol, the strong drink, to invoke an energy of prosperity. So for this new year, and when we speak of prosperity, of course, we're not just talking about what those preachers talk about these days with prosperity. Fill up your bank account and, kind of invoke black capitalism. Like that's something different than white capitalism. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Ujamaa. We're talking about the currency of our culture being our wealth. We're talking about the natural resources of our land belonging to us. We're talking about, first of all, our minds being used in our service. So as the OT is strong, as the alcohol is strong, may our love and our faith be strong. Ashe? As the OT preserves the airway, the herbs, as the OT preserves the medicine, may our culture, may our dignity, may our power be preserved. Ashe? As the OT is celebrated all over the world, may we as a people celebrate ourselves and again be celebrated all over the world for righteous cause. Ashe? Thank you very much. Much love. It's an honor to be here. And we do bring the greetings and the love of our Father, Yusi Kwana. Again, as we say, battling for a century. And so we're here to, I'm going to pull some of y'all aside, if it's possible, to record some of your reflections as we're preparing by the grace of our Creator for that remarkable milestone, the 100-year birthday.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Brother Slito.
I don't like to be the one to say I wasn't prepared for this. We must always stand prepared at all times. I came to Guyana on the 13th of November to work on a construction project in Melanie Damashana. And I was approached by a very good friend, D. George, the lady who owns the Palmerston Lodge. She called me on the 11th and said, "Slater, are we going to do this village caravan to Ithaca?" I said, "Yes, we can do that." And I told her I'll put the committee together right now. So I set out to reach out to the people in Ithaca. I've never been there before. And I formed a little committee of 7 persons. Of course, when I came, I printed the flyers and all of that in advance, because there's where I have access to people who can get things done. And then I came down and sent it around, and I pretty much carried the thing by myself, because whenever we set up the Zoom meeting, the guys are late. I don't like to be late for anything, right? And when you're late, I just leave you out and work with who's present. So anyway, we happened to make that journey to Ithaca. It was a great experience, and I need to share this with the group if I'm to say anything. We ended up with 3 buses within that time. I was responsible for 2 of the buses, and D. George, she took control of one of the buses with some of the big shots from Georgetown and elsewhere. I currently monitor some of the guys who sell drugs and smoke weed. I've never smoked in my life, but I approached them one time and I established a relationship with them. And I got persons to sponsor 6 of them to go on the trip, right? And so this is the first time they were going on a bus ride, and the first time they're going to an historical ancestral land called Ithaca. It was quite an excitement, and I was happy to know that we could have brought our people at all levels and at all class together and feel a sense of homeliness. So and those guys performed in the cultural program. They have skills. You know, one of them makes mirrors for a car, another one is a shoemaker, and I was able to get materials for all of them to advance their craft, right? And like when I was coming in, I didn't know we had a little cross street, and there were a bunch of guys there, and I didn't know that, but they recognized me and hailed, and they gave me the direction of Nima to come in and come to this place. So what I want to say is that, and then personally on my side of the thing, like I have an Airbnb at Melanie. It's called Slater's Organic Place. And I didn't know that we had all of this today because I could have brought the okra. I had about a gallon of pigeon peas that were shelled for me yesterday from the yard. And I have a lot of pigeon peas. If anybody wants some, it's free, right? And so, what I like to say is that we must recognize our people for who they are and what they are worth, and don't see them as an outcast. When I went and meet with the guys, I ran up to them and said, "Where's my seat?" There was one chair, right, and a bunch of them, and they got up and gave me the chair. And I sat with them for about 2 hours, right? And now they're my protector. I can go anywhere, right? And I can meet with them. And when I ask them to do things, they respond, right? And so we need to be able to organize our people wherever we find them and get them to do productive things. So I'm hoping that my intent ultimately is to remove poverty from Buxton. Right? I started with my own garden, and I try to make my garden an inspiration to the people in Melanie so they can come and see what I have there. I have paw, I have sorrel, I have pigeon peas, I have okra, name it, right? And it's growing. And we all can do the same thing, right? So, here to the people.
Greetings and more greetings. Just to remind you, food is available, $500, and you will have drink and water when we have concluded our session. Brother, I thought you were coming, Benji.
I'm coming.
Anybody else? I guess you're all filled with what was set for today. On the president of the museum to speak. He will speak and offer closing remarks. All of it.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It is indeed a pleasure to be part of an organization such as this and to see the gathering that we have it. In response to the brother here, organization is easily said rather than done. Organization takes time, and little by little we kind of organizing ourselves to bring it to fruition. It will happen, but it will take time. My brother brought it to my attention just now that looking at the gathering here, most of the people are outside of Buxton. Why is that so? It's still a big question to be answered. I must say thank you very much for those persons who made it a must to be here this evening. to grace us with your presence. When you mentioned Brother Kofi, I kind of looking for Kofi. I didn't see Kofi. I saw this brother here and I said, oh, this may be. But the resemblance is close, you know? The resemblance is close. I guess the spirit connects. The spirit connects. It's time like these that we recognize the importance of Brother Yussi, the role that he played in Buxton, as insignificant as it might have been to some people. I know to me it was a big inspiration for me, because I learned so much from Brother Yussi. And we are in a generation now where most of the youngsters, I can't say just youngsters, people generally seem to be just into themselves. And how can we break away from the spirit of me, and include us, you know? That's the challenge, that's the challenge. We talk about cooperative economics. We see it, we are seeing it, just that we might not associate it with the term cooperative economics. But every square inch, whether you're walking in Georgetown or you're doing it in Buxton, everybody's selling something. Everybody's selling something, and somehow the profitability is there. They're telling you they're making a profit. So how can we galvanize them, organize them to a point where it becomes a bigger something? That's where your thing comes in. That's where your thing comes in. So all I must say is, I don't know if Sister Baptiste remember me, but every time they call the name Sister Candice, I remember there was a Sister Candice, I think, but she was kind of double.
Ramasar.
Ramasar?
Candice Ramasar.
Yes, Candice Ramasar. Now it's coming back to me. But it was Candice Ramasar and I. We formed an ABDA group on UG, in UG itself. That was in the 90s. You know, I don't know where she is right now. But Sister Baptiste was very instrumental in terms of guiding us. And it is this kind of guidance that we needed in the villages to bring our people to that point. Move us away from this me, I, and include the cooperative spirit among
I and I.
So I must say once more, thank you very much for being here, and continue to support our people, continue to have patience with us, changing us from the me to us, and we will surely work with your guidance. Thank you very much, everyone.
You ordered closing remarks by our president, and I must emphasize, in the beginning there was but one concept, and that's the concept of I. Then arose upon you the devil, claiming it's you and I. So, just emphasizing the I and I, as Brother Kofi would have mentioned. So, we are here, closing. There are chits available, there are stuff to eat, and there are liquid to quench your thirst. Once again, thank you, thank you.